You're listening to another episode of the Young Investors Podcast, so sit back and relax as myself, Brandon, and my buddy Hamish discuss the latest in the world of finance and stock market investing. Now, a quick reminder before we get into the podcast is that nothing in this podcast should be taken on as personal financial advice. If you're ever unsure about your finances or investing and you need some help, make sure you reach out to a qualified financial advisor. But with all that said, let's get into another episode of the Young Investors Podcast. All right, guys, welcome back. Hamish, Hodder, whoops, I haven't got you over on the right screen. I've got you all the way over there. Now you're over here. How you going, mate?
I'm doing well. Pointy end of the year. It's always a good time of the year. Yeah, well, how are you doing? I'm
doing well. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Actually, I don't know when this is going out.
Yes,
this is going out on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
So this is the New Year's episode.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
We're on holidays at the moment. We're just taking some time off. So we still wanted to get something out to you guys for this week. So in today's episode, we are going to do our stock market predictions and other various predictions.
Yeah.
have a chilled out episode. I think that's what everybody needs at this time of year.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago, we did the live episode from Melbourne. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's those live episodes are always always our best episodes. But in that episode, we went through last year's predictions. So if you want to see our last year predictions and how they went, wasn't great. Better than the year prior. So the year prior,
I did all right.
Yeah,
I did all right with my predictions.
I should say that, yeah. Brandon did quite well because he hedges his bets on every single question. He goes, there'll be 3 rate hikes, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's 7 rate hikes. It's like, did you look at that?
Half point.
Yeah, exactly. No, so we did well. Brandon did quite well last year. I continue to do terribly at these predictions, but certainly better than the year before where we got absolutely everything wrong. But I thought this year we could just try and do a lot of predictions because it's kind of fun and we'll be a bit more specific. Instead of just saying stock market up or down, we'll give specific percentages. So
try and get a bit descriptive maybe.
Yeah. So we can have that beautiful YouTube Shorts clip that says I was bang on one of these predictions. I'll get all of them wrong except for one. I'll say the market's down 17% and it will be. Yep. And then I'll look like a genius and I'll hold on to that to the end of time. So
yeah. So we should clarify today's episode is going to be all of our positive predictions where we're going to say everything's going to go up. And then next week we're going to come back and say everything's going to go down. So that obviously we have the options to clip whichever one actually turns out. So
exactly. And in a year's time, I'm just going to private the one that was wrong.
The one that, exactly.
Yeah. So
we'll just cut them together so that it's perfect. 100% correct. Oh dear. Man, it feels a bit weird recording this kind of on a lazy afternoon, doesn't it? Do you feel a bit different? Like normally we record this at 10 o'clock in the morning and it's currently 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I feel kind of a bit lazy today.
Yeah.
It's probably the right vibe we need for this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is though, I've had to have a coffee in the afternoon and I never have coffee in the afternoon because I can't sleep if I have a coffee in the afternoon. So you've ruined my sleep for this tonight.
Sorry, mate. You're going to be buzzing tonight. You'll be like, hey, Brandon, guess what? I'll be like, what? Hey, huh?
Let's record another episode.
You want to play COD? You'll be like...
yeah, something like that. But we'll go through our predictions today. We'll also talk about some of the biggest events of the year because there's actually you put together most of the list, but looking back on what happened in 2022, there's so much. It was an absolutely chaotic year, especially if you compare it to like 2019 is the year that comes to mind where pretty much nothing happened in 2019. It was like very uneventful pre-COVID and pre the disaster that's been the last couple of years or the volatility that's been the last couple of years. But yeah, this year there was so much stuff that happened. So we'll go through and we'll reminisce on some of the events that happened this year.
Yep. Reminisce and then do our predictions, answer some Q&A, and then we will bounce. Yep. So, Hamish, you want to do the sponsor and then we can get into it?
Let's get into it. So today's episode is sponsored by Sharesight, which is an application you can use to track the performance of your stock portfolio. So you can bring in all of your trades either automatically or you can do it manually if you want to download your trades using Excel or one by one. And once you do that, it will track all the gains and losses in your portfolio. So capital gains, dividends. If you have dividend reinvestment plans, it will do those calculations for you. Currency gains if you're buying shares internationally or you hold foreign currencies. And then you can also use it for when it comes to tax time, which is upon us not for Australians, but for many parts around the world. Sharesight generates up to 12 different reports that can be used to track the performance of your portfolio and used at tax time to work out things such as capital gains, dividend income, and more. At the moment, you can try Sharesight for free by heading over to sharesight.com/young investors. That's site spelled SIGHT, sharesight.com/young investors. So use that link. You can sign up to a free plan and track up to 10 holdings for as long as you want. Or you can also use that link to sign up to a premium plan for more features, and you'll get 4 months off a yearly subscription if you use our link. So Sharesight's a fantastic service. It's not just for people in Australia and New Zealand. So if you're international, head over to the website and you can check out if they support your particular country or region for tax reporting. It's an absolute lifesaver. So go check it out.
I wanted to give a shout out to Callum as well. We got a. Did you see that comment that we got from Callum?
No, I haven't looked at any.
You haven't looked at any? He just had his Spotify end of year review, and he spent 2,794 minutes of his life listening to us this year. And my initial reaction is to apologize.
Yeah. What are you doing, Callum? Don't do that. Don't punish yourself.
I feel like you should be like, I'm sorry we took so much of your life away from you this year. I really do. But hopefully that means he's enjoying the podcast. So thanks for sending that in, Callum.
Thanks, Callum.
That was very cool. Great to hear. Which I think equates to listening to every episode throughout the whole year.
I was going to say, I think because we have like a creator Spotify Wrapped that shows us our stats from inside the Spotify Anchor platform, and I think it was about the same amount of minutes that we uploaded to in terms of podcasting content. So
awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Callum, and thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys. Like, it's great that we have this kind of community of people that's interested in, just chatting and having a yarn about the stock market and business and what's going on, and kind of having these lighthearted chats every week. It's really good. So no, we appreciate you guys tuning in. With that said, let's should we start? So I wanted to look back, and I actually just looked back through all of our podcast episodes. I didn't watch everyone. I just looked at the headlines because we always put the biggest news kind of stories in our headlines. I wanted to get your thoughts on the most. What I want to know, what was the biggest stock market event of the year for you? What was the one that was the biggest? Because I had a look back, and this is and you've added a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
This is everything that's happened in stock market, business, finance this year. Massive inflation, massive rate hikes, FTX collapse / Sam Bankman-Fried getting arrested, Elizabeth Holmes trial, Chinese stocks getting absolutely destroyed / geopolitical tensions, China, that sort of stuff, Activision Blizzard acquisition, and now the suing of, Bill Ackman's in and out of Netflix. That feels like a lifetime ago, man. It feels like so long ago.
That's crazy.
Russia, Ukraine, and the ripple effects into global economics, particularly oil prices. That whole thing happened this year. Elon Musk buys Twitter. Terra Luna collapses. Hometown International guy gets prosecuted.
Oh, that's number one. That's number one. That's it.
That's straight to number. And Bob Iger returns to Disney. All of that stuff happened just in 2022.
Yeah.
And there's probably heaps more stuff that I didn't even mention. That was just like the biggest things that came to mind.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking of this, did this happen this year or was this the year before? I can't even remember. This might have been the year before. I put the Archegos $20 billion collapse, Bill Huang, but I think that might have been 2021 actually. I can't remember.
Maybe it was the end of. Let's quickly do an Archegos Wikipedia search. March 2021 losses.
Ah, okay.
There you go. It was last year. Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, gee. Okay, thank God that wasn't 2022 because there's plenty that happened in 2022. So.
On April 27th, 2022, Huang and former Archegos CFO Patrick Hilligan were arrested and charged with all of their stuff. Right. So it it did come to a head in 2022, but the actual event itself happened in 2021.
Yeah.
So you can still that's half point. You can keep
Half
that in.
point. Yeah. So I mean, look, there was a lot of stuff that happened. I don't know how you judge kind of what was the biggest event, like what had the broadest implication. I mean, if
I don't know. Just what do you think? I mean, it could be for any reason. It could be the biggest event that happened in your portfolio, you know?
Yeah.
Or just what do you think is probably the biggest thing to happen this year?
I think the biggest thing that happened this year was inflation. I think it had the broadest implication. It drove the interest rate hikes across the globe, not just in the US, around the world. And that drove markets down. That drove that drove cryptocurrency down, which ultimately drove the FTX collapse. Although FTX, had its its internal potentially fraudulent problems, but essentially the onset of that was inflation and markets coming down, right? And essentially the bubble in some of these speculative markets popping. So I mean, inflation touches a lot of really the story of financial markets in 2022. And I know that's a boring answer, but I think that's if you're talking about what had the broadest implication. But there were certainly some, unique, interesting stories that did happen. I think the Hometown International one's a funny one. They finally got prosecuted. And I certainly didn't expect Bob Iger to be coming back to Disney. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree with you. I think you're definitely right. The whole inflation story was the trigger for a lot of all this other kind of news and events, particularly the crypto stuff. Like really what's interesting is all this crypto stuff does go back to inflation because cryptocurrency is such a speculative asset. Also, I'm kind of glad it happened because it definitely puts to bed the idea that cryptocurrency is an inflation hedge.
Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? That a lot of people.
The theory or the story, it makes sense. There's only 21 million Bitcoin or whatever. There's never going to be any more. So it's scarcity factor. Gold's the scarcity factor. Scarcity makes it more valuable when the US dollar, when they print $4 trillion and there's just a truckload more of them. It makes sense. But the thing that was very much evident across 2022 is that the market does not see Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as an inflation hedge.
No.
They see it as a speculative asset class.
Yeah.
Thus, when inflation rises and people start getting tight on cash, that's the first place they pull their money out of.
Yeah.
Is the speculative asset classes. So
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
I mean, it just hasn't had the stability that something like gold has been around for so long. And I think one of the reasons why it is a safe haven is because it's been around and has been a safe haven for so long. It's kind of got that reputation of being that. And even though Bitcoin has been around for a while now, it just doesn't have that level of safety. People don't feel confident when there's turmoil in the financial markets. People aren't flooding towards a cryptocurrency. It just isn't there yet. Maybe it will be at some point. Who knows? But that certainly doesn't exist right now.
Yeah, it's gold is very much, although like I'm no gold investor, it is very much a part of the financial system. It obviously was a lot. It had a much bigger role to play when currency, the US dollar, was obviously tied to gold. And even though it doesn't have that link anymore, it's still very much psychologically, a part of the financial system. Whereas Bitcoin and crypto just hasn't had that track record and time to actually be a part of it. But very interesting. But I tell you what, it was very inflation's definitely number one, but watching what happened in the cryptocurrency space in 2022 was a very close second because that was just amazing. Just amazing. I mean, what are we? Voyager, Celsius,
BlockFi,
FTX. Is there another one yet? No, they're like the big.
I think they're the big ones.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah.
Oh, there is another one, but I can't remember what it's. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Yeah.
No, it's gone. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it is crazy just seeing the absolute collapse, like stable coins just not being stable. Just so much just implosion in the crypto space and how it was very interesting seeing how a crisis of confidence has really destroyed many crypto-related or crypto coins, but also crypto-related businesses. I think is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes me understand Michael Burry's tweet when he was talking about how if you don't know how much leverage there is in cryptocurrencies, just stay away from cryptocurrencies. I was just like, I don't really understand what he means by that, but now I understand perfectly how much interrelation there is within cryptocurrencies, and they hold this coin, they hold that coin, and yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised since the FTX collapse, we haven't seen anything really substantial. I mean, BlockFi went straight away, but we haven't really seen any other collapses yet. That's honestly surprising to me. I think we'll probably continue to see it get worse. And then, it was just interesting to see the whole, I think the FTX situation with influencers was such a big, it's definitely the largest scandal there's been in the finance space. In terms of those promotions. So, that was interesting to watch how that unfolded.
Yep. Yeah, there's been, and even there was obviously the big influencers that have kind of killed their reputation a little bit by pumping FTX, but there was also it's starting to happen now. We saw even just in Australia, like a few days ago, it was for us, there was a kind of pump and dump kind of influencer guy that got sued by the Australian Securities Investment Commission. So that's good to see. That's happening here in Australia for the bad players. They're getting taken down. And also in America, we saw very recently that 8 pump and dump, was it crypto or was it stocks?
I think it was stocks. It was on like Twitter and Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 8 influencers. I think it was 8, 5 or 8 as well. It was 8, yeah. Got done by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So,
yeah,
there you go.
It's good to see. And I mean, it's in these kind of markets that kind of thing happens. It's also, it's kind of been the year of arrests. We've had SPF. I mean, Elizabeth Holmes trial finished. I don't know. I feel like there's a few others that I'm not thinking of. Oh, you just said the Bill Huang got arrested. So it's been the year of financial crimes coming to a head.
Yeah. Indeed. Oh, well, keeping the SEC busy.
Yeah. Those 3 people working at the SEC looking at influencers.
Although I do have to say, I think my personal stock market highlight of the year was going to America and going to the Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't really too much, it wasn't like the most revolutionary shareholder meeting ever, but I think that's definitely my personal stock market investing highlight of the year.
Yeah. No, that was great.
I can't wait to go back. It's
not long. It's only a few months away, so yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tease this now, if we can get it done, we are going to do it bigger and better than ever before. We've been once. Bigger
than ever before.
Bigger and better than ever before. No, bigger and better than last year. And that's where I'll leave it because it's still early days, but we'll see. We shall see.
All right.
Anyway,
should we
do some stock market predictions?
Let's do some predictions. All right, we've got a lot. As I said, I wanted to do a lot of predictions because I think it's quite fun. And it's we only get to do this kind of once a year, so it's we get to come back next year and take a look at how we did. All right, we'll start off with stock market predictions, and then we've got economics, we've got some political predictions, and a couple other predictions as well. So we'll kind of work our way. We'll work our way down. We'll start really basic, as we always have to. S&P 500. And is it going to be up, down? Give me your thoughts, and then give me a specific percentage guess.
My answer to this, Hamish, is it could be up anywhere between 0 and 50%, but it could also go down anywhere between 0 and 50%.
All right, moving on. Great prediction.
No, look, S&P 500, I mean, we should note as well, year to date, the S&P 500 is now down 20%. So it's had a haircut. But is it enough? Is that enough for where we are right now? Is that enough? But then I'm also very conscious of the fact that inflation is coming down and it is forming a pretty solid trend that it's coming down. the Federal Reserve has started to reduce the size of their rate hikes. Will it get to a point where they no longer are doing rate hikes and the stock market, even, who knows if inflation comes back, do they even start to lower interest rate? I don't know. I've got no idea. But such a kind of event like that would definitely encourage the stock market on its way back up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I actually think this is quite difficult to.
I think so
kind
too.
of.
This is a really tough one. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna say. Shit really hit the fan in 2022. And we only went down. I'd say only. It's a big drop, 20%. But we still only went down 20%. 12 months is a long time.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to be up.
Up. Okay.
I reckon.
Right. How much?
I reckon it's going to be up.
Give me a percent for your half point. You get a half point if you're right for up or down. Let's say at the end of next year.
Okay.
The full point. You need to get the percentage right within a margin.
See, this is the hard thing. I'm trying to judge where it's going to be in like exactly 12 months from now. So there's like a lot of things that could happen in the meantime.
Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll just, if it's volatile, we'll just pick a weekend where we're right, and then we'll record it.
Okay. No, I'll be completely and utterly average, and I'll say the S&P 500 will go up by 10% next year.
Okay.
I'm going to trust in the statistics.
Yeah, I think 10%.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to, I think I'm going to go against you. I think it's going to be down. I think, I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised, and we'll do some predictions specifically on these things later, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get another run of inflation. But even without inflation going back up again, I think Jerome Powell will continue to do rate hikes until it gets down. And I think it's going to be gets down to 2%, 3%. And I think it's going to be still difficult. I don't know what their US inflation rate's at. I think it's at like 7% or something.
But I still think at 7.1%.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more difficult to get it down than they anticipate. And the result of doing more rate hikes to get inflation under control than they expect, I think will push the market down. And the other thing is, I don't think yet we've seen the full effect of interest rate increases actually impacting businesses that have a lot of debt. I think we've seen valuations come in as rates have gone up and institutional investors are selling off stocks, rating down their valuations. But I don't know if we've seen all that much of, consumer debt going up and forcing consumers to slow down their spending and that hurting businesses. I don't know if we've seen too much of the real economic impact of the rate hikes.
So you're saying we kind of haven't seen the recession yet? Yeah,
and my kind of insight into that is, my very novice insight into that is like businesses like Thor Industries, which is an RV manufacturer. They sell a lot of RVs, most of them on finance. And only really now we're starting to see the demand come in on those RVs. And so, and Tesla's kind of spoken a little bit about potentially demand coming off. So I think next year we're going to see a little bit more of the real economic impact of the interest rate increases, if that makes sense. I think we've seen the financial markets impact, but I think we're going to see more. So I think down, and I'm going to say, I don't want to go too crazy here. Let's say down 15%.
Okay.
For the year.
Yeah, I think either way, and obviously it's reflected by us going, one of us going one way, one of us the other. It's very unpredictable. Like, it's very unpredictable. This is like
I'm laying out the breadcrumbs of like all of these unpredictable like factors. Like, I think inflation will do this. The prediction just ends there. Like, there's no way for us to know what inflation's going to do, or any of these factors. So it will be funny to see what happens.
Okay, Hamish, I'll chuck it over to you a little bit closer to home. The ASX 300. 200, 300. Yeah, same diff. It's year to date, ASX 300 is down 7%.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. The Australian market's not done all that bad. Especially if you've been dollar cost averaging into an index fund, let's say, in Australia, I don't think you're down. I think you're flat if you were doing it consistently throughout the year, and then plus dividends. So,
Our market is interesting because if you don't really have any, if you haven't got any context as to what Australia is like, it's and I say this all the time because it's just the easy way to remember it. Australia is holes and homes. It's mining and it's banks. It's mortgages. So so a lot of I guess Australian companies or big miners, they've obviously been, in demand. They need these, commodity prices have been up. So a lot of miners have been, working really hard to get as much product as they can out the door kind of thing. So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, the homes, But interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think?
I think the Australian market, given my prediction for the US market, I think the Australian market will follow the US.
Okay.
But I don't think
it does usually, for those that don't know, we typically follow what happens in the US market. It's kind of, we're kind of a US proxy sometimes.
Yes, yeah, it's a little bit like that. But
it's like something like the market crashes in the US and then we're like, when does the Australian market open? Because we're going to have a bad day today. Yeah. That's actually like how we think.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't think it's bad though. So I'm going to say down 8%.
Okay. This is kind of like, it would be odd for our predictions to change drastically. So I'm also going to think that the Australian market will be up. And I think it's going to be up mainly because people will still want a lot of commodities. Because I think that we will need to make a lot of stuff next year, or we will want to. So I will say it will be up. I don't know. It's a bit boring, the old ASX. I'm not going to lie. Up 5%, whatever. Send it.
Yeah. I like this so far because we're going complete polar opposites. So one of us is going to be 100% right and one's going to be wrong, unless it splits it down the middle. NASDAQ. What do you reckon?
Oh, geez, NASDAQ. The tech stocks. Geez, yeah. They've all had a big haircut.
They have,
but they're not like cheap.
Yeah, so the Nasdaq's down 33% year to date. By the way, so that's a big drop. It's a
big drop, but at the same time, some of these big they're not that cheap still. They're not that cheap.
Yeah.
So it's just like, like if we get back to the trend up, like, is there going to be a speculation, like a market-wide speculation that kind of fuels these maybe more fairly valued tech stocks to then just rip again and be super overvalued like what they were in like 2019? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, geez. See, I'm basically saying that even though the NASDAQ is down a lot more than the S&P 500, I don't think that means I think it will be up a lot more than the S&P 500 in 2023.
Right.
I'm going to be boring again and say what I said for the S&P. I'm going to say it's going to go up by 10%.
Okay. All right.
How much is it going down by, Hamish?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna line all my predictions up. I'm not spreading them out. I'm not hedging my bets.
It doesn't make sense to.
It doesn't make sense. I'm just going straight down the line. We've got a
thesis.
Yes, I'm using my thesis to make a prediction. So, following that, if there's going to be more interest rate increases than expected, the Nasdaq is going to get destroyed. So, I'm going to say the Nasdaq will be down 25%. In 2023.
Oh, that's a big prediction.
Yeah. The next one's going to be even worse. So,
is it? Oh, okay. Jeez. Okay. What did you say? 25. Down 25.
Yeah.
25%. Okay. Yeah. NASDAQ could be interesting. All right. Hit me.
Here's a big one. Tesla, which is down 65% year to date. So,
you know something crazy?
Yeah.
Tesla is down more than Bitcoin year to date.
Yeah, that is insane.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And the stock is still, I think, it's like in 2020 price range. So even after coming down 65%, it's really just erased a lot of the last couple of years, or even less than that. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on where you think it's going to be.
I think it's going up. That's my prediction. # not financial advice. Imagine like ASIC slash like, you made a prediction. And we're going, my God.
This is the episode that does us in.
It does us in. We get sued. It's because we make this funny little joke prediction.
Yeah, we should have said that at the beginning. Obviously, this is all a joke. Like this is comedy. Okay, this is not. This is genuinely. This is not real at all. Like
no,
it really is.
Us having a stat. We have no insights that are better than yours.
Yes, this is complete rubbish. So
just talking trash right now. Tesla. I do think it's going up. They have a really solid product roadmap. They have a lot of orders that they need to fulfill. We know the Cybertruck is coming out in the middle of next year. I don't know if full self-driving factors in at all. We keep just assuming that it won't factor in at all. It's still at a high PE. It's still at a 42 PE. However, I think they keep growing their revenue quite substantially. I think Elon does run a tight ship. I think that that their expenses are not going to be wild. I think they're going to continue growing their profitability, selling more and more cars. I know people are scared like recession and stuff, but I genuinely think they have enough demand for their vehicles and they have built up demand of vehicles that aren't even out yet. They have a moat enough that I think they'll keep selling still more vehicles than they can produce. So I think that Tesla's stock price in recent months has gone down a lot just because Elon's come into Twitter, has obviously just let loose with his views and opinions, and he's just saying whatever the hell he wants. And I think naturally that's just scares a lot of investors. But realistically, I don't think that affects Tesla's business at all. So I'm going to say something crazy. I'm going to say Tesla is going to be up. Wait, where is it right now? I don't even know where it's at. TSLA. 137. Whoa, yay. I'm going to say it will be up by 30%.
Woo.
How much is it going down by, Hamish? There's no way you're saying Tesla's going up here. I'm already writing down.
See, this is tough because this is such a wild card. This has got to be one of the hardest predictions out of all of these things. It could be really anywhere. I agree with everything that you said. I think everything that you said could very well play out.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Everything could play out. Like, even if you just look at Tesla's business over the past few years, where their stock has been doing this, their business has just been going like that. Yeah. Just slowly up and up over time. But their stock is just like, whoa!
Yeah, I think...
So we could be like right or wrong, just given what week we record the podcast on.
That is a very good point.
Anyway,
no, I'm gonna continue to go against you because it's more fun anyway.
Okay,
but I think following everything that I've said, interest rate increases. I think Tesla's business is going to do far worse than they expect. The underlying business. Ooh. So I think the underlying business is going to have some trouble, especially considering their vehicles are relatively expensive. A lot of people finance them. With continued rate hikes, I think that's going to continue to hurt demand, especially if other macro factors are bad and people are short on money and have high consumer debts. And I think that the stock's going to get destroyed. So I think Tesla will be down 40%.
40%. Jeez.
Actually, let's make that 42%. Let's stop doing whole numbers.
Hamish Hodder, jeez. 42. The Tesla cult is going to come after you.
Sorry, guys.
No, fair enough. We'll see what happens. That's it. That would be a massive drop. Like peak to trough over like a few years. That would be a massive drop. Oh, fair enough. We shall see.
We'll see.
What did you want to do next?
Yes. So that links just to the largest companies on the S&P 500. Out of the top 50 companies, let's pick a best and worst performer. So I didn't want to do the whole S&P because there's too many companies and
there's a lot.
But just the really big ones. So I've got a couple of names in mind. I'll do mine first while you're kind of having a look.
Yeah, maybe, because I don't even know. I don't even know.
I'm going to put Tesla as my worst performing stock of 2023. Ooh. So I'm going to go ahead at not out of all the stocks, just to be clear, there's going to obviously every year there's stocks that are down 90+%. This is just the top 50 companies. So these are big companies like Google, Facebook, that kind of thing. So I think Tesla will be the worst. And just for fun, I think Meta will be the best performing out of the top 50.
Wow.
And that, again, this is no prediction of any merit. But it is a stock that's a large cap company that is down significantly. And I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. So that's my two predictions. Best and worst performing.
You know, honestly, I don't disagree with your I disagree with your worst. I don't disagree with your best performer, because I think obviously we don't know. I think a possibility in 2023 is that investors figure out that Facebook, despite everything that's going on, and Apple and Google's crackdown on ads and targeting, and they're burning so much money on the metaverse, I think people realize that they'll either make significant inroads with their metaverse stuff and AR and VR, and people will start to see, okay, there's some use cases here, or it will just turn into a shambles, in which case Mark Zuckerberg will go and like, you know what, we tried something, didn't work, we're going to stop. And I think the metaverse thing just resolves itself. It's either great or they just stop doing it. And then I also think that people just chill out a little bit and realize that Facebook is still an advertising behemoth, and their advertising business is a literal money printer. I think that Meta definitely has a chance at performing very well. It's just like what the market sentiment, it's like catalysts, and what the market sentiment is. That really depends on like when stocks move.
Of course.
In the short term, like over like say a 12 month, obviously across a 10-year period, it's just like the business performance. But I don't know. I still think Meta's a pretty solid business. So I say Meta best.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's worse, what's going to do really badly. I just couldn't even have a stab just looking at some of these names. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the chip, like we've seen a definite 180 in the whole semiconductor space, like NVIDIA, the AMDs of the world, like reducing orders. Chip makers are now in a bit of strife. So maybe I'll see, I don't know, maybe that'll keep happening.
Yeah.
Personal computing revenue across lots of these different companies are down a lot. So maybe like an NVIDIA or AMD. I'll probably be wrong because I just don't know enough about it, but
yeah,
why not? I just don't, I'm just having an absolute stab in the dark. Worst, NVIDIA or AMD? Probably not. I'll probably be horrifically wrong.
Yeah, I think it's also entirely possible that Tesla is the best performing of the year and Meta is the worst.
Maybe.
That could easily be the case.
I mean, no matter what we say, it just proves our point, really. The point that we make every week is that in the short term, anything goes. Anything goes. You know, you really can't predict this stuff. No. That's why, like, if I had to be an investor that made money in the next 12 months, I would be like, holy crap. Like I'd be sweating.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't think I can do this reliably, but give me 10 years and I'm like, oh, hello, I can do that for you.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it, trying to swing trade events and that sort of thing, especially when there's stuff happening every single month.
Especially now.
Yeah. And the thing is that the shift from a quiet, non-volatile market to a volatile market happens so quickly that a lot of people who do these short-term trading, it's all, you know, sunshine and rainbows, and then all of a sudden it's just chaos, and you know, they're trying to make up for losses, and it can be very difficult, at least from what I've seen. So yeah, I don't know how people do it, especially in these markets.
Okay,
all right,
let's move on.
Yeah, we've got some cryptocurrency predictions as always. Bitcoin, up or down, and percentage. What do you reckon?
I think. Let me write this. B. I think crypto's dead.
It's dead? Bitcoin's going to zero?
I just don't. No, it won't go to zero. But I think that the times of wild speculation are just over. They just are.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think even we spoke about not too long ago the percentage of Americans that now see cryptocurrency as unfavorable or have a negative opinion, and overwhelming percentage is now a negative opinion of cryptocurrency as opposed to positive. So I think that whole hype wave, those big waves of speculation where literally you can talk to like the garbage man and he's buying crypto, that's done. So I just don't think, like, of course there's going to be the people that really believe in blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum and that sort of stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, I believe in it because, there's one coffee shop in the United States somewhere that accepts Bitcoin for coffees. There's always going to be those people.
Yeah.
So I don't think it goes away, but I think it will just be like, it'll just be a thing. I'm going to say it's down 61%. I'm going to say it goes down another 50%. Wow. I just think that no one cares anymore.
Yeah, I think
all of the people with a lot of money that were just chasing returns in anything speculative, like they have it, like the serious market movers of the world, are gone.
Yeah,
they're gone, and they're worried. Like the next couple of years could be tough. They're not putting their money in something super speculative like crypto. They're just not.
Yeah.
So I think it's going down, and so then you get down to the retail investors where the hype kind of forms, and I just don't think that they have enough market moving potential to do anything substantial. So I'm saying it will continue to go down 50%.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see crypto go back to kind of where it was post 2017. So 2017 was the last time there was a massive pop. So 2016, 2017 was like the last bubble in crypto. And then it collapsed pretty significantly. I believe it was maybe 60, 70, 80% or something like that down. And then it kind of just went nowhere for a long time. It was kind of dead for like a year or two. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. I'm also going to say it's down. I agree with everything you said. I'm going to say less. I think probably down, let's say 27%.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm going to stop doing...
Hamish, what's crazy?
Yeah.
The peak of the bubble in 2017, that's where Bitcoin is now at. Back to 25,000.
Yeah.
25,000. Yep.
Yeah, right.
That's where it peaked in 2020, end of 2017, and that's where it is now.
Yeah, that is
that's
crazy.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Weird. No, I think it's gone down.
Yep. Yeah, definitely going down. 27%. I'm going to start giving more just exact like random percentages so that.
All right, I'll do 46%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will another
hang on. Sorry, you know what's funny though out of that is that of all the predictions we've made, Bitcoin's probably going to go up like 200% next year.
God damn it.
Now that we've said that.
I feel like I'm going to get everything wrong. I feel like the market's going to boom. And
Yes, that's fine by me because that's what I predicted.
Yeah.
I'm the optimist here. You're the pessimist. Well, not when it comes to crypto, but in all of our predictions so far, I've been more optimistic. You've been more pessimistic.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
Rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right, Hamish.
Yeah.
There's a life lesson for you.
Yeah. And I mean, I am kind of hedging because I'm fully invested basically, like personally. So like, it's not like I'm doing anything with these predictions. This is just completely coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, no, okay. Another crypto one. Will another major crypto firm go bankrupt? So I was going to list a few, but then I couldn't really be bothered. I think major, in my view, major is a business that's managing, if it's like an exchange, it's at least a few $100 million, maybe in the billions. And if it's if it's not an exchange, then a business in the billions of revenue in the crypto space or hundreds of millions of revenue. So a really large firm, and some examples might be like Crypto.com, Coinbase, Binance. Do you think one of these or more will go bankrupt in 2023? Yes?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't know which. I literally don't know anything. Like, I've just never gone deep into crypto.
No, yeah.
In terms of research. Because I knew that immediately I was turned off by the whole idea of it. So I just never bothered.
Yeah.
There are some people like CoffeeZilla, for example. He is turned off by crypto, but he has gone full in depth into learning about it, but that's just not me. So I'm going to say yes. I don't know which one. So yeah, my point with that is I don't know which one it's going to be, but I think I'm going to say multiple.
Okay. I want you to.
No, I'll say.
Give us a name as well.
A name.
Yeah, name a company.
I don't know. I don't know.
We don't know any of these, so I'm going to force you. Okay, you forced me to do predictions last year.
Okay. Yes, and it's going to be, well, FTX was the sponsor of the Miami Heat Stadium. There's Crypto.com Arena, so I'm going to say it's the ones that sponsor the stadiums. Crypto.com, it's gonna die. Yes. Crypto. I'm putting it in. Crypto.com is dead.
He's done.
DED. Dead.
Beautiful.
All right, Hamish.
I'll also say yes, there will be. I think based on our Bitcoin predictions, I think the crypto market will continue to suffer, and that's just going to hurt crypto businesses, especially ones with debt that are not profitable. I haven't looked in depth into any of these businesses, but I've seen some of the financials of Coinbase, and they're horrendous. So I'm gonna again have no idea, of course, but I'll say Coinbase will be no more.
Okay, interesting. All right, that's the crypto stuff. We had one from Kendra, a question from Kendra, a listener. For next year, what will happen to the price of oil and to the price of battery components like lithium? What do you reckon, Hamish?
Oh my God, this is definitely the one where I have,
I don't have
zero insight to really give. I don't even know what the price. I couldn't even tell you what the price of oil has done this year. I mean, I presume it's up, but I don't know I don't know by how much or whether it's come down recently. I think it's come down a little bit more recently, but I'm honestly not sure. I would say it's gonna be down 13%.
Down 13%. Nice.
Price of battery components? Gee, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like what? I guess that's more like a take on what are your thoughts on battery electric vehicles?
I guess up 17%.
17%. Honestly, I think I'm going to kind of go. I don't have any insights either, really. I think that like battery components will be up as well. I think that this is going to be a big year for electric vehicles. I mean, every single year there's more and more. And Elon, every quarter, he gets on the conference call and he's just like, if you are interested in printing money right now, please, can you go and mine some lithium? Can you please people do that, or nickel, or whatever the hell he needs for the batteries. He's just saying that there's such high demand if you want to print money. So I'm going to say that lithium is going up by 21%.
All right.
And oil, I have no idea, but I reckon oil's going up by 3%. That's just no reasoning.
Like
just
no
leave it at that. It's like that. Do you see that that CNBC interview where the guy was like quizzing? Oh, so what do you think is going to happen with XYZ company? And he was like, oh yeah, we think that XYZ company has some definite potential. We hold in our portfolio. We think we're going to see it rebound 25-30%. And then the guy was like, so what does XYZ company actually do?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, what's that? Oh, you're breaking up. Sorry.
Oh man,
what was he talking about?
That was iconic. I don't know what the company was.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
goes on and he's like, "Oh yeah, we think there's massive price potential increases." So what do they do? And he's like,
Yeah, and I mean, like the crazy thing is, how can you go on CNBC and not even have a 10-second line of what they do? Like they're not quizzing you on the analysis or anything. They just what does it do? Like what does Facebook do?
We think it has massive price potential next year. Yeah, but what does it do? anyway, that guy would have lost a lot of investors that day.
Yeah, that was pretty embarrassing. I stole this one from Equity Mates. I had a look. They do their bold predictions on their podcast. Ooh. And last year they did a prediction that was whether there was going to be consolidation in the media industry or streaming companies. So, whether, Paramount or Peacock or Apple and Amazon, is there going to be any consolidation or mergers or spin-offs or anything like that in the space? I don't know. I would
say yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to give a prediction on this, but I think there will be. I don't know if there'll be like a big merger or anything like that, but I think that a tech company, so like an Apple or an Amazon, maybe even a Netflix, will probably end up buying a film studio of some sort. So I think you'll find one of the big media conglomerates will spin off a film studio, or if there's an independent film studio that currently exists, like an AMC or something, I think we'll see an acquisition of a moderately large film studio. So that's my odd prediction for the space.
There you go. I have no insight. I think there's going to be further consolidation. It's like video games. I think there's going to be further consolidation, but I don't know anything.
Yeah.
All right. Economic predictions. Hamish, US inflation. It's currently 7.1%. It's coming down.
Yep.
For now.
Yep.
Where will it be in 12 months from now?
In 12 months, I think it will be lower, but yes. I don't think it will be in the target range. So I'm going to say it's going to be 5.7% for US inflation in 12 months' time.
Yeah, right.
What do you reckon?
I think... I think it's going to be down. And I think it's going to be down more. So we've gone from what did the US inflation rate peak at?
9.1.
9.1. So 9, and we're already back down to 7.1.
Yeah.
So I reckon we get back down to 3.5. 12 months is a long time. The Federal Reserve will keep acting, I reckon.
Yeah.
They want it back down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean...
3.5 is too low. I reckon 4.
Well, the interesting thing is that the monthly rate at the moment, the last few months have been very low. There's basically been no inflation. So it's been like 0.1, 0.2% per month, which comes out at really low inflation. So it's really a matter of...
which is like 1.2, 2.4% per year. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So even though I'm saying the annual rate will be lower, the month over month will increase from where it has been recently, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there.
All right. Federal funds rate, official cash rate set by the Federal Reserve. It's currently at a range of 4.25% to 4.5%. Their terminal rate, which is where they expect it to be long run, is 5.1%. So they expect, a couple more small hikes. Where do you think?
32%.
32%. Right. Okay. I was going to say 33, but I mean, 32 is pretty good.
No, definitely not.
Jesus.
Let's see. It's coming down. It's currently at 4.25, 4.5. So if it keeps coming down, wait, what did you say the terminal rate was?
5.1.
I reckon. That went off that far away from that.
No. Yeah.
I reckon 6. 6. Yep, I reckon 6.
Yeah, you kind of stole my. I think I'm between 6. I think I'm between 6 and 7. So I'm gonna say 6 point. I'll give a specific 6.75%.
All right. There you go. Because I think, you're only like a couple of decent rate hikes away from their so-called terminal. But if they find that they get there and then inflation's coming back down, but it's not really coming back down to where they want, then they'll add another one on. That'll take us up to 6 to 6.75, and then we'll both be right.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of sitting on what we did last year again, which was they were predicting 3 rate hikes. We're now kind of also both predicting, 3 to 5 rate hikes. So
goddamn, we were so wrong last year.
Yeah, inflation was way worse than anybody predicted. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Australian inflation, what do you think?
Okay, I think I think Australian inflation
currently 7.3%. Currently 7.3%.
Yeah, I think the rate hikes here in Australia will have a more effective job at bringing down Australian inflation, just because we have the heavy reliance on a lot of variable mortgage rates, which I think will hit consumer spending quicker. So I think Australian inflation will be lower, and I think it will be 4.2% by the end of the year.
4.2%. All right. I think, damn, that probably sounds about right. Look at me saying that like I know what's up. Yeah, you probably said. No, let's say 4.8.
Okay.
Nothing really to add, but I do agree with your thesis. Like when you, because you told me about that kind of that rationale, and I was like, yeah, that really does make sense. So I definitely agree with that. Australian official cash rate is currently at 3.1%. Hamish, where is it going?
I don't think we'll see too many more rate hikes in Australia, to be honest. I think we'll see less in the US again, same as this year. I think it will end at, let's say, 4.25, let's say.
All right, I'm going 4. I already wrote it down. 4.5.
4.5. Okay.
Yeah, 4.2.
Yeah, there's not really much to kind of add on these predictions. I mean, as we kind of spoke about earlier, it's kind of these whatever. We've kind of already run through these predictions earlier. I mean, my stock market predictions are kind of based on whatever inflation does and interest rates. So,
yeah. It's kind of where we're kind of predicting the same thing again. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some more fun ones.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe fun, maybe not so fun.
Fun's the wrong word.
I said fun until I read what you've written down here, and I'm like, oh, geez, this is grim. Oh gosh,
not fun, but
let's
different.
do some fun ones.
Different.
Is the Russia-Ukraine war still going to be going on, Hamish?
You shouldn't have said that.
Oh, jeez,
No.
put my foot in it there, didn't I?
No, some of these are fun, but just different ones.
Different.
To stray away from what we normally do. Yeah, okay. Russia, we'll do. Maybe some of these will be kind of quick fire because I don't have too much insight. These are kind of just
these
are literally completely random. Ukraine Russia war still going? I think yes. Unfortunately, I pray that it ends during 2023. But unfortunately, I think that it will still be going.
I think the same.
Yep.
All right. What's our next one?
Any other major wars beginning in 2023? So, I mean, I think probably the highest on the list would probably be China invading Taiwan. I have zero insight into any of this, but we certainly at the beginning of last year didn't expect. Around that time, we didn't expect that there would be a big war, Russia-Ukraine, raging on during 2022. So, do you think there'll be any others that sprout?
I'm going to be a pessimist and say yes, and I think it will be China, Taiwan. I don't know. It seems like from what they say, they're gonna do it. So
yeah, I have zero insight into this, but I
hope not.
I will say yes as well.
I was talking to Aaron. Aaron's my one of my video editors. He's from China, and he was basically saying like, yeah, they're probably gonna do it. Whether they use force or whether they just use intimidation, saying like, you're part of China now, okay.
Yeah.
And Taiwan just has to be like, okay. Because he told me like the whole story of how kind of like Taiwan was a part of China, and you know the Taiwanese, that they were the people that spoke out against the Chinese regime, and they wanted to be, so that everybody went to Taiwan, and but no, I definitely think. I think it's also like so strategic as well for China to have Taiwan with all their manufacturing of like chips and that sort of stuff. It's just,
Yeah, I agree. I also say yes.
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean,
but
of course.
We're just saying what we think will actually happen. Will Donald Trump tweet in 2023?
Now we actually have some fun ones. Will he tweet in 2023? Of course, this is because he owns Truth, or at least does he own Truth Social? He owns.
I don't even know what the setup there. I'm sure
he's at least kind of an ambassador or the face of Truth Social. So
I'm sure he's got a fair equity stake in it.
I don't. Yeah, I think so. So will he tweet? I don't think so. I don't think he will tweet.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
say no.
I'm saying yes.
I mean, it's pretty close to the election, so I think we spoke about this earlier. How he might have to eventually, but yeah, I'm going to go against the grain and say no.
I'm going to say yes. I think it's too close to the election. He wants to win the election.
Yeah,
I think he'll just. I think for him, swallowing his pride on this whole Truth Social crap is easier to do than. I think the priority is winning the election, not to make Truth Social the biggest, best thing it possibly can be.
I agree.
And I think Donald Trump, well, what he says in the media, he likes Elon Musk as well. So I don't think there's any like, oh, I refuse to because I don't like Elon Musk. I don't think there's any of that. So yeah. I think he will. I think he will tweet in 2023.
Okay.
I think his priority is winning the election. The way he's got to do that is he's got to get back to his millions of followers on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. SBF, is he going to jail?
I think there's very little chance that we know that by the time that comes around.
How long did Elizabeth Holmes take?
Well, I think she was charged in 2015. So
yeah, yep.
It was like 6 or 7 years until she was found guilty. So presuming that it goes through the courts, I mean, it may not go through the courts. He may strike a deal, and if he strikes a deal, then I think it's a certainty that we will see the sentencing next year. But I think that's pretty unlikely. I think we will see it go through the courts, and the trial won't even begin by next year, I don't think, given how complex the case would be. So, no.
Fair. Will we meet Warren Buffett in Omaha?
I hope so. Can we do some...
We'll hover outside. What we need to do is we need to wait, because some people met him at like a cafe last time.
Right.
I can't remember who we were talking to. Someone told us that last time when we were in Omaha. They're like, "Oh my God, we saw Warren Buffett in a cafe this morning." Yeah.
Wow.
So I think we need to just be a little bit smarter with our Buffett stalking.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll be a bit more savvy. We'll
optimistic. I'm going to say yes. We're going to meet Warren Buffett in Omaha.
I
want to shake the guy's hand.
I'll also say yes.
All right. What about this one? Will Monish Pabrai finally agree to an interview?
I mean, I'm certainly more optimistic than us meeting Buffett. So I think if we say yes to meeting Buffett, then I think we have to say yes to the interview.
I hope so.
So hopefully we can make it happen.
I just want to know, like, because yes, he says yes to people, and he's said yes to some YouTubers in the past. So I'm just like, I wonder, how do we do it?
Yeah.
What must we do, Monish? Please. It would just be amazing. It would be so amazing to talk to someone like Monish on the podcast or on our YouTube channel. It would just be so cool.
Yeah, that would be unreal. Yeah.
That would be unreal. Yeah, let's be optimistic. Both of us. Let's say yes. And next one, will we get the great Phil Town himself on the podcast? I reckon out of like Buffett, Pabrai, Phil Town, I reckon we could potentially get Phil.
Yeah.
That would be so awesome.
He's definitely the closest in terms of our network.
Yes.
He's definitely he's only a couple of, well, one relationship away. So we're only one step. Yeah. Whereas at the others, we're kind of a couple of steps. Buffett, I don't know. There's quite a few steps. So, but I'll say yes. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. We'll try hard for both of those guys.
Yeah.
Both those guys. Oh, dear. But we shall see. All right, Hamish, shall we wrap this thing up? We've been going for over an hour.
Yeah, that's a lot.
We thought this one was going to be super short.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guy. I went a little bit overboard with the predictions.
You're like, he gets the calculator out. Well, if rates go here and inflation if the cost of used cars drops by 3% in the next quarter. Go through every line on the...
Well, so... I mean, with all of these predictions, I have to get some right. You know, I couldn't possibly get every single one wrong, right? Right, Brandon?
Right.
God damn it.
You say that now.
Oh, damn it.
Nah, that was pretty funny.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I was quite surprised that I got a lot more right than you from my predictions, but I was just hedging bets and collecting a lot of half points. I think I scored like 4 points total, and I think they were all half points.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Of course, we'll be back next year. Hope everyone is having a good New Year's Eve tonight, which is when this episode is coming out. So, we're absolutely looking forward to another jam-packed year of the Young Investors podcast. Thanks everyone for just listening throughout the year. As we kind of said at the beginning, we couldn't do this without you guys, so really appreciate it. And thanks, Brandon, as always, for joining me, putting up with me.
All good, mate.
Here once
putting
a week.
Up with you. It was tough, but I've managed to survive for another year.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Hamish. It's been a great year. Really good year of podcasting with you. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And here's to next year being bigger and better, eh?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you guys next year.
See you guys.